Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about an important and fast-passing transit we're going to be having here in July. Specifically on July 10th, we will be having an exact opposition between Pluto and Mercury. Mercury at 29 degrees Cancer and Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn. I wanted to come on and make a video about this transit, which will probably be felt longer from around the time of July 5th through around July 15th. But of course, exact on July 10th. And I wanted to talk about this today because it's happening right during the time where we have the nodes also on the cusp of Taurus, Scorpio, and Aries, Libra. And then we have Mercury and Pluto here right on the cusp of Cancer and Capricorn. We have Mars also on the cusp of Leo and Virgo. All right. We have Neptune really late in Pisces. I find that this general period of time that we're going through is a collective time of cusp. Okay, so crossing a threshold, crossing a chapter, changing into a different sort of location or region of our lives. And I think that this specific transit of Pluto opposite Mercury will be helpful in giving us the chance to think about how we're connecting our mind to our sort of like deeper transformational urge, okay? So I'm going to talk about this in this video, and I hope that it resonates for you all. If you're new, be sure to hit the subscribe button below, and yes, I will be making a video later this month about the new nodal axis that we're having with an installment for each and every sign, so definitely keep checking back to the channel and turn on those bell notifications to get notified when the new nodal paradigm video posts later this month. Okay, so Pluto opposite Mercury. What I feel this to be at the most obvious level is a transformation to our mental state. The opposition of Pluto and Mercury indicates that there is a conflict between the way that we're actually really transforming or changing our lives and the way also then that maybe we're thinking about it, or the way that we're trying to logically reconcile the changes that we're choosing to make in our lives. So firstly, I'll tell you guys that right around this window of July 10th, really the entire month of July 2023, this is a massive time of change. Okay, this is a massive time of threshold, and it's a time of not only deep, obvious collective change with the nodes changing sign, with Saturn now being in the new sign of Pisces, Pluto also being on that cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. But it's also a period of time of changing the way that we think about change. Okay, so like how mental can we get here with it? Changing the way we think about change. What is your thought on change? What do you feel like needs changed in your life? How are you thinking about that? Like if you know that something is off in your life, or if you know that something has had its time, or that something is maybe stagnant or on its last leg or concluding here, what is your process of thinking about that? Is there a lot of escapism tied to that? Is there a lot of like, I don't want to face this change. I don't want to look at this. I don't want to see this. I want to just let it kind of do what it does, or is there for some other people maybe a feeling of like, I need to get out in front of this. I need to really be forceful with this change, or I need to like really stand in a strong way with this feeling of change. Either way, this Pluto opposite Mercury that we're having is going to cause us to rethink our change philosophy. Okay, so we can't afford to implement the same old change tactics here. So something new has to be learned, you guys. Pluto opposite Mercury in Cancer and Capricorn at this level. This is, I don't typically talk about such a short-term transit like this, but the reason I'm talking about it today, as I said, is because we have so many other cusps happening right now, and this is going to kind of catalyze a major transformation process with how we choose to embody change, embody also the knowing of when something has to change. I think that with Pluto opposite Mercury, we have these times in our lives where it's like the change hasn't happened yet, but we know that it's impending. That's what I feel with Pluto opposite Mercury, especially in Cancer and Capricorn. So it could be relating to like the house, the status, the location, the family home, the family trajectory or ancestral roots. Okay, we could be here in this moment, not in the state of change, but knowing that it's coming. Kind of like also when you're seeing a storm in the distance. So for those of you who've like flown in airplanes a lot, you might know that like a lot of the time pilots will try to turn the plane or go around the storm rather than going through it. I feel that a lot of us are at that kind of point as well, as that was coming up a lot in the Patreon readings this month. This feeling of like, okay, we see the storm, we have a finite period of time to maybe choose to either go around or go through. And that, I think, is what this Pluto opposite Mercury for a lot of people is. We have this like finite period of time to decide, okay, am I going to kind of like prove something to myself by trying to go through the storm, or am I going to take it easier and go around? Also, I would take this period of time if you want to work really rationally with this transit and just kind of list down, maybe make a list of things in your life that you know are up for change. This could be your budget with the Cancer Capricorn axis. This could be where you live. This could be your home. This could also be things that you feel are squared away, especially in the mental realm. So like certain coping mechanisms or certain even like long running doctrines that you have in your life. Like, for example, doctrines on budgeting or doctrines on how much should be saved versus how much should be spent. Doctrines also on like political philosophies or economic philosophies that you might have like kind of held as long running, even like identifiers for yourself, may be seen as out of time now. And I also feel that for a lot of people, they aren't maybe buying who they've been for such a long time. So identity crisis, right? It's very prevalent with the Neptune and Saturn transit that we're having right now. Also the Uranus and the Pluto transit, all the outer planets right now, the way that they're generationally transiting is indicating a actually very strong collective identity crisis. So this Pluto opposite Mercury that we're having here in July can actually start to get us a lot more clear on what it is that we're actually trying to do through changing our philosophy on transformation and what change means and what change is like. So change, let's talk about change. Let's talk about transformation. It's not comfortable, okay? I think that one thing I can diagnose in the collective is a want for a kind of like comfortable, even like frou-frou or sort of healthy, or maybe healthy isn't the right word, but just this feeling of like comfortable transformation is something that the collective is really craving. And that happens sometimes, especially if the transformation is more distant from us, or it's like maybe something a little bit outside of ourselves that we get to kind of witness changing. That can be really hard for some people though too. I don't think that transformation is ever easy. Okay. So maybe that's a place where we can start to look into our sort of long running set ideations about change and like maybe the romanticization of change or the glamorization of change or transformation. For those of you who have transformation on the list right now, it's not easy. And it's not glamorous, it's not romantic, but yes, it can give this in the future. Like once we get to the other side, once we have done the change, once we eventually get to reap the rewards of what that change means, that is very powerful. And that is something that is sometimes like a 10x multiplier of what we could have ever imagined in those old spaces or in those old sort of spiritual places that we were at. So that would also maybe be an important area of change, is like thinking, okay, maybe this is going to be difficult to change right here, right now, but in the future, we're looking at a lot more wholesome, a lot more tangibly well, a lot more sense made, okay? And that's something we need to talk about as well. I'm just getting a bit of a psychic ping there. So things that don't make sense. We have a lot of confusion right now, don't we? Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, minor asteroid of Nessus in Pisces. There's a lot of people really capitalizing on a sense of confusion, or a lot of people really like relying on confusion or chaos or lack of sense to be something that gets them through, or something that shields them from a certain level maybe of accountability, or a certain level, also not even just accountability, but like when things are easy, when things are simple, when things make sense, when things are wieldy, we can't avoid any minor thing that's off. However, when things are really chaotic, sometimes we just get this feeling like, you know, things are just chaotic. And that means I can just kind of allow things to be chaotic, and there's nothing I can do, so I don't have to work very much harder. There's definitely something of this right now in the collective. And this Pluto opposite Mercury is going to show that. And it's going to also show the detriments of that. It's going to show the detriments of a overly confused or overly chaotic output regime for a lot of people. So having like too many things on your plate, that's why I've been recommending to you all for this entire year, like button things up, get things off your plate that don't have to be on your plate, try to not be too many people for too many people, know your limits. But then it's a balance as well, because we don't want to like over limit ourselves or turn off certain windows of opportunity. There's a great window of opportunity in this transit, actually, of Pluto opposite Mercury as it relates to dialing the mind and the logical center to what is actually a worthy area of transformation and what isn't. So there are some things that we can bang our head against the wall and it's not going to change. There are some things that within just one day can totally change the entire trajectory of our lives. I think that understanding what is what and which is on which side of that is the key to this transit. And I'm seeing a lot of people around this time of July 10th, entering into this last week of the North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. We get this strong Plutonian energy as well with the South Node in Scorpio. Pluto opposite Mercury, it's going to bring a lot of that deep, like underground, undercurrent oriented energy of the South Node in Scorpio up straight up to the conscious mind with a Mercury opposite Pluto happening at the same time. So things which we've kind of been like feeling out, sussing out, kind of like trying to wrap our minds around or kind of connect to at a deeper earthly level, that's going to get really clear right up in our top conscious brain during this time. And it's going to be finite and it's going to be short. So it's a great time for great meditative sessions, for journaling, trying to maybe ask the question, what deeper undercurrent am I trying to tap into in my life? And how is that coming higher into my perception and the perception of others? How does that actually translate, that deeper undercurrent that I'm actually tapping into? How does that actually translate into the real comprehensible life journey or life story happening here? That's really the main question of this transit, everyone. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video. Shorter one, but no reason to talk more than we need to about anything. I hope this resonated for you, and do hit the subscribe button below. I have a long list of incredible videos coming this month ahead, so keep tuned back to the channel. Do check out the Patreon page, as we have all 12 zodiac signs over there for the month ahead of July in new, refined, refreshed, and just really wonderful quality over there. So yes, very reasonable. Come check it out. Hit that subscribe button and have a great transit. Thank you, everyone. Bye.